Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am the beginner electrical engineer and today we are doing a video on some of the uses for an old USB charging cable and some devices that you can make yourself with it. Now bear in mind, unlike other videos that you might have seen on the internet about how to make a USB gadget by yourself, this is not like that. This is a USB device video that you will be able to make yourself, not can, will. So very simply, the difference between their videos and mine is that mine will have full narration and proper guidance. You see, everyone else's don't have full narration and don't have full guidance on them, which means you might not be able to make your project a success because you don't know what you're doing. Anyway, that's enough of me talking, let's just get on with it. So, take your USB cable, cut it in half. Done. And then strip the end. It's proving harder than I thought it'd be. Okay, so I've stripped the first layer of insulation off, and as you may notice with this one, because it is just a charging cable and not a data cable, it's only got two wires coming out of it. One red, or pink in this case, and one white, but it should be black. So I'm going to take a black pen and colour it in. Okay, so you may be asking me, why did I colour in the white wire and turn it black? Well, that's because I am a stickler for standards. I absolutely don't like it when there is no standards between items. So that's why I coloured it in black, because typically 0 volts is black and red is 5 volts, or 5 volts is red. Okay, so today we're going to be using this wire in order to make something that has a motor in it. Now you might have seen other videos online in which, oh, you need a motor in order to make this fan run, or anything like that, a gadget that uses a motor basically. So this part of the video is going to show you how to pick a motor to use. Okay, so if you've salvaged a motor from any old gadget, any old device, then you might find one like this, and it's relatively small. It's most likely a 3 volt rated motor, which isn't always a good thing to run on a higher voltage because that might break it eventually. It will certainly wear it down over time. But since this is a USB gadget you make yourself, you're not going to use it an awful lot anyway. But the first thing you need to do is grab your wire, power bank, and the motor, and hopefully a breadboard. Obviously you can use it without a breadboard, but it's an awful lot easier if you have a breadboard. Also, you will need a multimeter as well. Now let me just set this circuit up. Okay, so I've just noticed while stripping back the black and red wires, so I noticed that they are stranded like most cables in order to keep them a bit flexible. So what I'm going to do here is, because I want it to fit into the breadboard, I'm just going to add some solder to the end of these using a soldering iron. This is known as tinning. Okay, so now by soldering that, they shouldn't untangle themselves, and they should go a bit easier into the breadboard as well. Okay, so I've put them in the breadboard, and now we're going to hook up the multimeter here. Now this is in amps mode, so you are going to have to switch it to amps and make sure you've got it in the probes in the right socket. There we go. So if you don't know how to set up an ammeter, then a new video will come on that soon, but in the meantime there are plenty of other videos from other people explaining how to use a multimeter as an ammeter, voltmeter, ohmmeter, everything else. So now we're just going to take our power supply. This is quite a big chunky one. It's a 10 ampere hour one, so it's quite a good capacity one. We'll just plug that in. Wrong way around. And as you might be able to hear, the motor is spinning and it is drawing around about 40 milliamps. Notice it's minus, but that's just because I've got the terminals the other way around. In truth, it doesn't really matter. You can just take the minus away because you plugged it in the wrong way around. Now let's get a more precise value for that. So you turn the multimeter to the next range, and with this one I am switching the terminals over so we can get a more precise measurement. Let's try that again. So yes, that's around about 50 milliamps. Obviously if I hold on to it, it goes to more than 200 milliamps. Okay, that's more than a fair look at that. So, why did we do that little experiment? Basically, we did it so that we know that our motor is not going to break our power supply. Because USB, while chargers like this claim to put out 2.1 amps most, computers and other devices sometimes only put out a few hundred milliamps, typically around 200 or 300 milliamps. That's something you have to be careful with. Because if you make a device that draws an amp and you try and plug it into your computer and it can only provide 200 milliamps, it might break the USB socket, which is not something you want to do to your computer because it's priceless. Okay, so next on the list of things we can make with a USB stick is going to be a tiny little torch. Yes, people have done this before, but this one is going to have a difference. Okay, so this USB torch is going to use a tricolour LED. It's going to have 3 colours, of which you can set yourself. It could even just be white if you only have tricolour LEDs like I do. And the way to do this is very simple. Find the cathode, which is typically the shortest leg, I believe. Okay, so with these LEDs, the 3 colour LEDs, the longest leg is the cathode, and the other 3 are red, green and blue. So what we're going to do here is just plug it into our breadboard so that the cathode is connected to the black wire of your USB, and the anodes of the other 3 are not connected to each other and not connected to the red wire either. Now what we do is we grab some resistors. For this example, so that I don't blind you, I'm going to use 390 ohms, purely because I have an awful lot of 390 ohm resistors. However, if you was actually using this to light up something, you might want to use a 220 resistor or lower. However, I wouldn't suggest going lower than 220 because it will ruin the life of your LED if you go any lower. You could potentially use 180 ohms, but that's up to you. So we have 3 resistors here, 1 for each colour. And with this example, we just put each resistor connected to the red wire, and then connect them to each separate anode. As you may notice, I haven't got the supply plugged in right now. That's just so I don't short circuit it or anything like that. Okay, so there's the 3 resistors. Time to plug it in and see what happens. Upside down again. As you can see, it lights kind of blue. I actually quite like that colour blue. But that's because of the forward voltage of all of the LEDs. You see how the red one has a slightly lower forward voltage. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, where were we? We were making a torch that's USB powered that we can make ourselves. So let's take our power bank and demonstrate this real quick. Wrong way. There we go. So as you can see, it's slightly blue, but it's mostly white. The camera picks it up as slightly more whiter than it is blue, but that's fine. So let's just unplug this a second, and we can do a little experiment with this. So first of all, take your multimeter again, same as you did last time. Put it into the 200 milliamp range if you've got one, and disconnect the red wire. Oops, this black one needs plugging back in. There we go, that'll do. So unplug the red wire and attach your multimeter to it. This is using a curly wire with a crocodile clip on the end. Makes it nice and easy to attach to bare wires. And then where the red wire was, attach the negative side of your multimeter to it. And that way we can measure the current being drawn by the LED. As you can see, it's on, and it's around about 24 milliamps, which is perfect for a USB device that you can use on any power supply. That could be from your computer or from a power bank like this. As I mentioned previously, the limit of a computer USB port is 200 milliamps, so we're only 1/10 of the limit, which is perfectly fine. So, say you wanted to change the colour of this. Well, it's really simple. All we have to do is remove one of the resistors and plug it back in. There we go, now it's green. It's very green. Shall we remove another resistor? And it's gone red. In that way you can make any colour you want, provided that you either take resistors out or change them to slightly higher or slightly lower values. You could also potentially use a potentiometer or a variable resistor, one for each colour, one for each anode of each LED, but that's expensive in comparison to just plugging in some resistors. But it does let you get any colour you want, so if you want to go that way, then by all means go ahead and do it. So ladies and gentlemen, that is 2 of the many USB gadgets that you can make yourself. You might have already seen these elsewhere, but hopefully I will have shown you how to do them properly. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for getting this far. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like. If you want to show other people, please share it. And if you want to see more of this kind of thing, then please subscribe. More will be coming. I'm about to start editing another video. And hope you enjoy your day and have fun. If you have a go at this project or one of these, please let me know in the comments below and I will have a look. And I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye!